everybody was able to get in and do the challenges from yesterday. I saw some great comments coming through. So number one, yes. Put the comments into below underneath all of the postings for the challenges, because that's how we're keeping track. Do not email them to us, because we get 10,000 emails all the time. Look at this little curl. I always have a little curl just like popping out of my head here and sticking out like crazy. So distracting. Anyway, so put your comments down below, and that's how we keep track of everybody, so we can enter you in for the opportunity to win a one-on-one consult with me and with you and your family. So please do that. Now, we've had some great comments coming in again through Messenger and email. Super important to keep all your comments in the challenge, because that's the only place where we're looking at them, because again, thousands of emails come in every single week for us, and we have no opportunity to answer them all, and we want to. Plus, the most important thing is we want you to put your question in there, because number one, there's no dumb questions. Number two, everybody will be able to learn from the question that you ask and when I answer it. Okay, so this is a collective community for learning. So make sure your questions go in there. But I do want to comment about one question that came through, and it's in regards to a specific illness. So this particular individual said, hey, I have rheumatoid arthritis. I was almost forgetting what it was. And, can that be treated? Because I've tried all these other things, and I've been told that, for example, turmeric or CBD oil, or, whether it's herbs or acupuncture, or all of these, can help. So here is my 100% this is a very unwavering belief around this. And I always like to say, everything that I know up until right in this moment right now that I'm sharing it with you, because science is changing, knowledge is evolving. Past science and knowledge comes to surface to say, oh, actually, we knew this 100, 200 years ago. Plus new science emerges that we just discovered that either proves the stuff that we know to be right or wrong. Now, what's been consistent 100% of the time that I can see throughout history is that real food grown on trees, on bushes, in the earth, that stuff consistently heals the body. I can't imagine somebody coming around in 1,000 years from now, despite all the technology we have, someone saying, you know what, we've decided that carrots are not good for you, or we've decided that apples are not good for you. I can't see that happening. And we know it because for millennia, like literally millions and millions of years, this is what humans have been able to live and thrive on. The reasons why we had these short lifespans is because we didn't have the modern medicine, let's say, of, antibiotics, for sure. The antibiotics did help the human race, but we also didn't have things like fire. Once fire came along, people's lifespans were extended. We also, there was a time when we didn't have potatoes and other tubers, and those root vegetables, when humans didn't know that they were actually underneath the ground, people also didn't live as long. We know that when tubers were discovered, that's when brains started to expand. A lot of people think that it was when humans were eating meat, that's when the brains really evolved and grew, and when they started eating fat. But it's actually the tubers, it's the carbohydrates, because your brain absolutely needs it. And as well, those carbohydrates will get turned into fats or sugars or whatever else you need, and vice versa. So the one thing that holds true is the diet. Your food that you put into your mouth 3 times a day or 6 times a day if you're snacking, it doesn't matter. That's the stuff that is your true medicine. CBD oil, acupuncture, herbs, supplements, medications. These are, I don't want to call them band-aids, but what they are is that they help you with the symptoms. Yes, acupuncture for sure. I believe 100% acupuncture, and I will get it if I need it for whatever it is I'm going through. Acupuncture helps to open up the energy pathways. And when I say energy, we're literally talking about mitochondrial ATP energy, so chemical energy we can measure. It's not some woo-woo esoteric, form of energy that you might be thinking, but literally acupuncture helps to bring circulation to areas. It helps to increase blood flow to areas. It helps to do so many things. So acupuncture, I don't want to say it's a band-aid, but if you're putting acupuncture onto a body that is living on a standard American diet, you're going to be going for acupuncture treatments for the rest of your life. You're not going to really get to see that reversal in disease, chronic disease. And chronic diseases are those illnesses, all the cancers, all the diabetes, all the heart conditions, all the autoimmune disorders, all the infertility issues, all the penile erectile dysfunction issues, all the, like everything. These are lifestyle illnesses, all but 3 to 5% of those diseases in all of those categories, only 3 to 5% are genetic. It's important for you to understand that. Okay. So if a doctor comes to you and says, you have rheumatoid arthritis, or you have SIBO, or you have, hypothyroidism or Hashimoto's, or if you have, anything, it doesn't matter what it is, cancer. If they tell you this cannot be reversed, you need to know, like, hey, is this truly genetic? Like, am I missing a chromosome, have too many chromosomes? Are my genes actually physically not able to turn on or off? Well, if that's not the case, you can reverse your disease. Yes, acupuncture will help. Yes, maybe CBD oil will help. Help in alleviating the pain, help in alleviating the discomfort, help in alleviating the, maybe increasing blood flow. But if you go and get a treatment or take that stuff and then you go and shove a big bowl of pasta with canned tomato sauce that's really high in sodium and oil, and it's been sitting in a jar or a package on a shelf for a year or 10 months or 2 weeks even, well, that's processed packaged food that doesn't have enough nutrients in there to reverse your disease. So you're just going to be beating your body up with every single meal. Okay. So that's what I want you to understand about that. So rheumatoid arthritis, let's talk about this. So it's an autoimmune disorder. And this is where your joints become really hyperinflamed. It's so uncomfortable. And eventually you develop all this scar tissue. And then your joints become really achy and gnarly. And it's so uncomfortable. And so, but it's just another sign showing you that your body's out of balance. So when people ask me about a specific illness, I say, it doesn't matter what the illness is. There's only, besides Parkinson's and ALS and some specific brain tumors, all other diseases can be managed and treated with diet. And it's like, I just can't stress that enough, people. Diet is everything. It is 90% of it. The other part of healing, so 90% of it is diet. I would even say 95% of diet. Then the other 5 to 10% truly is the acupuncture, the yoga, the mindfulness, the stress management, the smoking, like the automatic, like, direct exposure to environmental toxins, that's in the other 10%. But diet is responsible for everything, because your diet is what nutrifies you. Your diet is what pushes nutrients into your cells, which then allows the cells to push toxins out, and the nutrients support the creation and the regeneration of your organ systems that are responsible for detoxification. It's the nutrients that keep these systems active and alive for a really long period of time, like 107 years, like however long you want to live. If you're eating enough nutrients, you will sustain a body that's in good form, free of disease. And we know this through all the epidemiological studies, that's a mouthful, that have existed. If you don't know what epidemiological studies are, these are mass population studies. So this is where researchers go out and they look at thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands of people that live in the world in maybe different communities or the same community, and they study what they do and how they live, and they observe and they observe, and they test and they test, and they figure out, like, well, what's the commonality? What is the thing that allows people to live to be 107? Disease free. And they've done these studies over and over again for the last, we have 150 to 200 years of data on this. And again, all these studies show the same thing. Guess what? Diet is the number one factor that extends your lifespan and allows you to live disease-free. And then those other things like community and being free of toxins and not smoking and dancing and shaking your booty and, being connected to nature. Yes, all of those things are they're so important too, but that's what makes up the 10%. So diet is 90%. Diet is 90%, and the rest is 10%, those other lifestyle factors. So when someone says, will this work for rheumatoid arthritis? I think I've answered the question that yes, it does. And it also works for SIBO and other autoimmune disorders and bacterial overgrowth and parasitic imbalances and cancers and everything. I just interviewed a woman on our podcast yesterday, Jan Newell. She's amazing. She's an engineer and a PhD from Vancouver, British Columbia. Born in China, moved to BC, I think like 30 years ago. And she was diagnosed with breast cancer. And so, she went ahead, and we're not against chemosurgery and radiation at all. And we need it if it's going to, like I said yesterday, lengthen our runway to allow our body to regenerate to the point where it's strong enough to be able to fight the disease on its own, because that's what our body is designed to do. So Jan did all her research as an engineer and as a PhD, and she was like, oh my God, yes, the common theme, and she didn't know anything. She had never once thought about diet and disease. And she said, oh yeah, the commonality is diet. So she intuitively and intellectually said, yes, I'm going to do the Gerson therapy. And she discovered it, and then she did it. And I mean, this is cancer free now. It's incredible. So how many people out there, how many lives could we have saved if people actually just intuitively and intellectually knew that diet is responsible for 90% of it? So for rheumatoid arthritis, diabetes, heart disease, cancers, mental health, panic attacks, anxiety, depression, bipolar disorder, schizophrenia. I can tell you so many stories. And of people who've healed when they've changed their diet. So it's really important that people understand that. Okay, so I think that's an answer to that question. Thank you for posing that. Hi, Crystal. Thanks for tuning in. I love that we're getting almost 100% viewership rate. So not always in the live, but definitely later on for the replay. So that's amazing. So please do the challenges. You can go back and do the challenge from day 1, day 2. We are on day 3 of 5, which is super exciting because we are halfway there. Okay, so today's challenge, sorry, let me just bring this up. Okay, so today's challenge is, I'm going to send you, I am going to do that. So you had your challenge from day 1, which was watching the C Word. And if you could watch Game Changers, awesome. It was also about your identity. Yesterday, we covered the 2 second challenges. So please go into the video and watch those. And I'm saying that because I want you to go into the video and watch it versus if I just tell you now. And then day 3 is super exciting. So I'm going to post an article, and it's about the chemical reaction called TMAO. Now, some of you may have already watched it, but I want you to understand this because this is leading edge science. And if you don't know this, you're going to continue to go out there and think that eating an animal-based diet is good for you. You're going to go around like so many customers who come into our restaurants. They say things like, where's the protein? None of this stuff has protein. And this is where I'm here to tell you, it's the number one question everybody asks me is, will I get enough protein if I do the Eat Real to Heal program or if I turn to a plant-based whole food diet? And there is protein in absolutely everything. So eating meat would be fantastic if our bodies didn't detect meat as being so closely related to our own mammalian DNA. This is why so many people have autoimmune disorders now, because when you eat the meat, it goes into your belly and you start to digest it. And because the DNA of that meat is so similar to us, because we're eating another mammal, that what happens is your body gets confused. Now, it has to be coupled with people who have leaky gut syndrome, but we know that probably 90% of the population has leaky gut syndrome from all the glyphosate, the pesticides people have used. So when you have leaky gut, then you allow these whole protein particles from the meat to enter into your bloodstream, and then that's what triggers an autoimmune response. So the antibodies get created. It's just mayhem in your body. Your body can't tell the difference between chicken or pork or beef or lamb and you. So it just starts attacking your own tissues. So it's really important to understand that, because your body will not stand a chance at fighting disease and infection if your body's always fighting itself. Your body's going to be in a chronic, fatigued, weak state, and it can't get over that, which is why we see so many people when they switch to clean, real, whole foods, that all of a sudden they, after day 6 or 7, they just get so much energy and their body's not fighting itself anymore. People often ask, like, will I get enough iron? Will I get enough protein? Yes, you will. And in fact, what we see is when my clients switch to the Eat Real to Heal program is their iron levels go up, but they never have to take toxic iron supplements anymore. Isn't that cool? I think that's cool. So these are the things. So I'm going to put an article in here and I just want you to read it. And the reason I want you to read it from start to finish is that I just want you to actually take time reading something from start to finish. Most of us have about 2 seconds attention span. So what happens is we kind of scan something and we look for the words that we want to see. So for example, the resveratrol study that came out and everybody was reading it and all they read was there's health benefits for drinking red wine. I should drink it. And then everybody was like, yes. And the media went crazy and everybody started drinking more red wine. Red wine sales went up. But here's the thing, is that that's not actually what the study said. The study said that, yes, resveratrol, one ingredient in grapes, is responsible for decreased cancer rates amongst participants and the mice that they studied and everything. So that's really different because if you actually read the study from start to finish, you'd actually see that you'd have to drink, I think it was equivalent of 12 bottles of wine a day to get the level of resveratrol in your system that would actually revert or help to manage cancer cells and treat cancer cells or prevent cancer. So this is huge. Because who's going to go around drinking 12 bottles of wine a day? That you're going to be dead in a month, probably in a day. That would be toxicity overload. So it's important that you read things from beginning to end and really look into what the article is truly saying. Now, the other reason that it's important to read an article from beginning to end, it's because you need all the information. You need it all. You need to understand what's happening so your brain can make sense of it. And then this will give you the power and encouragement that you need, the knowledge, the epiphany that you need to go, oh, you know what? I'm not going to do what Nikki says. I'm going to actually research on my own. And I'm going to take action based on what I intuitively and intellectually know to be true for me. But you're not going to get there if you skim looking for those things that you want to hear. And we all do that. That's called confirmation bias. And confirmation bias is where, let's say I did this for years. I truly wanted to believe that coffee was really good for me. So I wouldn't read the bad articles. I'd only read the positive articles that said coffee was good. And then I would skim through it and I would just look for the line that said, like the results that said, yep, there's health benefits to drinking coffee. But I didn't read the rest of the article to say, well, actually, there's also these other downsides to drinking coffee. So you need to weigh the pros and cons. So that's another reason why I want you to read this article. So I'm going to be posting it in here just after this video. You need to read it. And here's the challenge is you need to read it and you just need to pump out a few lines, like a really short paragraph summarizing what you got out of the article, okay? So read the other people's comments and see what they got out of the article, then write your own, or you can be the first to write it and put it in there. It's a tiny little research homework assignment, which is really important because, again, like I said, I don't want you believing everything I'm saying to be 100% true, but I want you to challenge things. But at the end, I have a feeling because I've been doing this for 22 years, researching these subjects that, it might take you 22 years. Or what you could do is understand what I'm saying and then go out, test it, research it, see if it makes sense, and then come back to me for more information because that's what I'm here for. I'm here to impart this 22 years of knowledge onto you so you actually don't have to go through 22 years of questioning and researching. Okay, so that's challenge number 1. Challenge number 2, this is around the food. So how did challenge number 1 go yesterday? How did the challenges from yesterday go? I really want to know about that, so please comment on that. For today, it is around food. Okay, so I want you to see if you can get 30 fruits and vegetables in your diet over the next week. So that means 30 different fruits and vegetables. So what you need to do is take a list of it and make a list of that. And you need to post it down below. So you can go backwards and think about the foods that you did eat, and then you can count forward and think about the foods that you're going to eat over the next few days, okay? There's multiple different ways that you can do this. So really the challenge is that I want you to name 30 fruits and vegetables that you got in your diet this week, because 30 to 50 different fruits and vegetables in a week is the magic number for reversing disease. And again, the food should be organic, the food should be clean, the food should be real, it should be whole food and plant-based. And so if you can list that, put those comments in below and then tell us the foods. And you can also put like, these are the foods I ate over the last 3 days. These are the foods that I'm going to commit to eating over the next few days. And then make a list. And so we teach you all about how to do that. We give you a meal plan in our program so that to make it easier for you. But I'm just curious to know if you're already getting 30 to 50 fruits and vegetables in your diet in a week, or if you need additional support. By everybody posting in the comments, you'll be able to see their comments and you'll be able to get ideas of different fruits and vegetables that you can eat. So that is challenge for day 3, challenge number 2 around the food. Okay, amazing. So I have one more question that I want to answer, and that is about, we got a really great comment that said, I can't buy the special groceries because I'm on a college budget. And I love this question so much because 50% of Canadians are literally on the brink of insolvency. So that means they're living paycheck to paycheck and they don't know if they're going to be able to pay their mortgage and pay their bills. So that is just the way the world is. We're all in debt as a result of all these credit cards and high mortgages and high interest rates and everything. So I wrote back to this wonderful woman who wrote to us and I said, don't use money as an excuse. Okay, it's just an excuse. And it might sound harsh that I'm actually saying that, but we all make excuses for not taking action. I have no time. I have no money. I don't have support. My partner won't do this with me. What are some other, and they are excuses, okay? Like you cannot lie to yourself. A lot of people try and call them reasons, and they're excuses because we know that you are human and humans have incredible ability to make decisions and to make lifestyle changes. People have done it all over the world since the beginning of time, right? Right from the discovery of fire to climbing Everest to going out and getting the job that you've always dreamed of to birthing babies into the world. I mean, that takes, there's no excuses. It's not like, oh, I can't do it. It's like, no, you're doing it and you're going to build up all that courage. You are going to find the energy. You are going to find the willpower. You are going to find the courage to do it. So we all have the ability. So that's why I say, and it might sound harsh, but it really is no excuses. When I work with clients, basically, I'm like, if you're going to tell me all your excuses why you can't do it, then I'm not the person you need to work with. So it's important to know that. So here's the thing. The foods, there's no special ingredients. And in fact, when you're out there grocery shopping, your bill should come in lower than what it is now. Okay, unless we can't compete with McDonald's, okay, because I see some of their special prices advertised on like television when I'm in the States, and those are hard prices to compete with, and I get it. So, but if you're coming to us and you're wanting to learn about food as medicine to reverse disease, you're not going to reverse it with McDonald's. So you can reverse it just by eating potatoes, and potatoes are the cheapest thing on the planet. You can buy an organic bag of potatoes from your grocery store and it'll last you, for half the week, and it's only a few dollars. So it is much cheaper than McDonald's. So listen to our podcast with Andrew Spudfit Taylor because he's the potato guy. He ate potatoes for an entire year to reverse his disease, and he did better on the potatoes to reverse his disease than any medication ever was able to do. And so he lost tons of weight. He was eating enough calories. And so it wasn't that he was starving himself. He was over nutrified, in fact, because there's so many nutrients across the whole spectrum in potatoes. So there's a community in, and I cannot remember the island, but I'm going to find out for you. So there is, for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, people have lived on this island where they only eat yams. That's it. They don't have any other diversity. So when I talk about, getting 30 to 50 vegetables in your diet, that's optimal. But they were just eating yams. And because yams have a plethora of nutrients, I mean, these communities have been thriving for thousands and thousands of years with a good lifespan, with being free of disease. It's pretty spectacular. So there's no excuse. So we're humans and we have this complex taste bud system that wants to have a diversity of flavors. So I get it. Eating potatoes is going to be boring, or is it? because I love what Andrew Spudfit Taylor said. He said, you know, why don't you make your life exciting and your food boring so that way you don't allow food to be your number one driving force that governs all your decisions. So, you know, oh, my friends are going to eat out at the restaurant. I want to go with them. And I want to have that social time. Yes, you want to have the social time, but you don't have to go to the restaurant with them. In fact, when you allow your life to be exciting and your food to be boring, then what you can do is say to your friends, hey, why don't we pack up like some amazing food and you make it or you teach them how to make it and let's go, I don't know, camping or go for a hike or go to the lake or go for a walk or go to a movie or I don't know, go to the art gallery, do what, like there's a million things, go salsa dancing. And this is how you make your life exciting and your food boring. And this is where you'll stop saying, oh, but I really need to go for that Starbucks latte, or I need to go and have that steak dinner, or I need to go and have the whatever the food is, okay, that's not serving you. So for this student, I get it. I 100% I remember the days in university when everything was super tight financially and I was literally rubbing nickels together. And it was tough. But you can eat really well. So diversify your diet a little bit. Maybe it's like potatoes, yams, carrots, a head of green lettuce, some parsley, some cilantro, a few tomatoes. Sometimes tomatoes are expensive, sometimes they're not. You can have some garlic, onions, turnips. You can get some apples, oranges, grapefruits, lemons, limes. That's 15 ingredients. Your bill for that food will be less than if you tried to eat out, it'll be less than if you tried to grocery shop for anything else because you're not buying the oil, you're not buying the crazy Himalayan crystal salt, you're not buying the wine, you're not buying the coffee. You can eat really well on a very, very limited budget. Okay, there's no excuse. And you will get enough protein, you will get enough ingredients, nutrients, everything, and you can sustain yourself phenomenally this way. Okay, so that's everything, people. So happy to be with you. Go in and do those 2 challenges. Can't wait to see what you post in the comments below. Hi, Margaret. Hi, Anna. Glad that you joined. Go back and watch the video, get the challenges, and do them for today. Okay, see you tomorrow.